Howdy, my name's Mudbrain, and... Howdy, my name's Mudbrain, and I like to read. Books are pretty nifty. They got a lot of words in them. When you string all them words together, you get sentences and paragraphs and shit. And you know what paragraphs are full of? Knowledge. And knowledge is power, so fuckle the buck up, son. It's story time! Today's story comes from the Grand Library of
Prif News,
titled Legends of the Mountain. It's a short collection of folktales about Mynydd, a mountain to the north. I've recently been researching local folklore around the Mynydd mountain that sits in the northwest of the region of Tyrannin. Below, I've recorded the most notable legends, all of which seem to revolve around a set of similar events. I'm quite dubious of their accuracy, as oral tradition has a habit of overindulging specific details. Of course, anything is possible. The Wolf of EBD. A tale of a ghostly wolf that took the form of a handsome prince that fell in love with the Queen of Light, who ruled in a palace atop a great mountain. The royal huntsman, distrusting of this mysterious prince, tracks him one night and discovers his true form. He ensnares the wolf in a trap and performs a ritual to banish him. When the queen finds the prince gone and never to return, she engulfs the mountain in a harsh, bright light as she cries out in grief. To this day, the Wolf of EBD guards the mountain and its ruler from the eternal darkness that forever plagues the land. The Bright Paw. Blithe Bright Paw, clad in nothing but a wolfskin and a blinding spirit sword, returned from the EBD realm. There he had faced the vicious Enghindfil in hand-to-hand combat, and from its torn-off arm, he forged his mighty blade. For the land had been torn asunder by a wicked dragon after it was disturbed from its slumber by Queen Toag as she mined the mountain dry. Once it had been awoken, it destroyed the castle that had been built upon its lair in retaliation for the theft of its treasure. The Bright Paw, oft-times mistaken for a prowling snow wolf, climbed the mountain to slay the dragon and save the queen. Alas, the hero was too late, and the dragon had already devoured the great Queen Toag. The Dark Blath. Toag, the queen upon the mountain, had a dark secret. In the depths of the mine that sit beneath her throne, a jeweled chalice had been found amidst a pile of treasure. It soon became the queen's most prized possession, but unbeknownst to her, the chalice was cursed. Upon drinking from the tainted cup, the queen's stomach began to grow in size every day for a week. On the 7th day, she gave birth to a distorted thing, all claws and scales and hot to the touch. Her brother, Blath feared what his sister queen was becoming as the darkness overtook her. In a vain attempt to stop her from destroying the land, he pushed her out the tallest tower, and she flew to her death. From these stories, we've learned a few things. There was a wolf and a dragon and some castle upon a mountain. It may have ended in light, and it may have ended in darkness. Perhaps some lovers were involved and the land was punished for their union. What we can say, however, is that we may never truly know. Now, I love me a good folktale, but these stories are about a real place, an actual physical mountain. What's stopping me from just going there myself? Here I am at Gwynedd, a gorgeous, rustic village located just north of Prif. According to the locals, the mountain behind me is what's kept them safe and hidden from prying eyes and passing ships all these years. I'll have to ask them about the fishing dock later. The town's fortune teller informed me that some people have ventured to the top of the mountain in the past to seek their fate, or something along those lines. Arriving at the foot of the mountain, we see something none of the folktales mentioned. A cenotaph, which is a fancy person word for gravestone, but the bodies aren't actually here. The description reads, an old cenotaph dedicated to an old hero. Their deeds may be forgotten, but their memory lives on. In front of the cenotaph are two stone busts facing each other. The western one is labeled the Dark One, while the eastern one is labeled the Savior. Now, making a statue of some dude named the Savior makes sense, but why make a statue of the Dark One? You don't normally memorialize your enemies, especially not alongside your heroes. Continuing up the mountain pass, we see corpses! Lots of corpses. Really just bones at this point. The culprit isn't hard to spot. Judging by the snow-white fur and piercing red eyes, this could be the wolf mentioned in 2 of the 3 folktales. A bit concerning, considering those folktales could be as old as the First Age. Having survived the canine surprise, we find ourselves at a literal goldmine of lore. Ed, you're not supposed to be here, get the fuck out. Surrounding this plateau is a ring of gold ore, calling back to the mines mentioned in 2 of the stories. One mentions a queen mining the mountain dry, but there looks to be plenty of gold left. Continuing on to the top of the mountain, we have... I'm fucking with you. What the hell happened here? This is them, right? The Dark One and the Savior, those 2 goobers right there. But who is who? Alright, no, let's take a closer look here. First, the one on the right. This one, he almost looks like he's comfortable, if not for the swords all jammed through his chest. Their corpse is sitting upright thanks to the pincushion they've become, and yet they look satisfied, as if they'd accomplished their goal and embraced their reward. As for the other corpse, I believe they were the goal he accomplished. Their skeleton is laid across a stone, pierced through the chest by a gleaming white blade. I'd wager that makes this the spirit blade mentioned in the second folktale, and by extension, that would imply the wielder would be Bright Paw, whoever that was. This skeleton appears to be grasping at an ornate golden chalice, now embedded in the soil after millennia of weather. Only one story mentions a chalice, but it implies that the queen drank from it and gave birth to a dragon as a result. However, if there was a queen, as all 3 stories imply, this is most likely her. The crown still rests where it fell from her head all those thousands of years ago. Which then begs the question, why was she fighting? Who was she fighting? This is where it starts to get a bit confusing. But before I dive into my theory crafting, let's finish our tour. Here at the top of the mountain, we see the ruins of the Queen's Castle, occupied by a handful of ghosts and a single black dragon. Seems that anybody who didn't fall to the wolves ended up as a snack for the big lizard. The vegetation up here is all dead. Most of the trees are burnt to a crisp, some of them even blasted clean in half. All that remains of the castle is a disheveled throne room, occupied by the skeleton of a massive dragon and a handful of ghosts. Now, 2 of the 3 folktales make mention of a dragon. In one, the queen disrupts their slumber as she mines the mountain's natural resources. The dragon, angered by the queen, destroys her castle and everybody inside. In the other, behind the throne lay 3 black dragon eggs, which none of the folktales reference. The aforementioned dragon pregnancy implied that it was a live birth, which sounds terrifying now that I consider it. Though again, imagining a person passing one of those eggs also scares me. This is just somebody's fetish. Shit, did I get tricked into reading First Age Elf Smut? What the fuck is wrong with you people? Sorry. Anyway, on a surface level, that's Mynydd. So what's the story here? Each of the 3 folktales have bits and pieces of the truth. Some characters and themes overlap, but none of them paint the whole picture. In all 3 stories, we have a queen who rules in a palace atop a mountain, and in each, she suffers a great tragedy or dies a terrible death. From the Wolf of EBD, we have the albino dire wolf, the queen, and not much else now that I look. The story says the wolf was actually a handsome shapeshifter/spirit prince who loved the queen, but was banished by the royal huntsman. The queen cried out in sorrow, engulfing the mountain in a harsh, bright light. Perhaps the bright light was actually referring to an explosion, which would explain the burnt and blasted landscape. From the Bright Paw, we have the blinding spirit sword, which I would presume to be this one right here. The queen returns and is given the name Toag. We also have our first mention of a man named Blath, the mine beneath the castle, and the dragon. This story also references the wolf, though it implies that Blath simply wore a wolfskin cloak. Oddly, this story also references EBD, this time as a different realm to which he traveled. And from the Dark Blath, we have another mention of the mine. Blath returns, this time as Queen Toag's brother, and we get the only reference to the chalice. In this one, the queen not only gives birth to a dragon, she's also corrupted in some way by drinking from said chalice. The story says Blath pushed her out a window to her death before she could be overtaken, which is the only reference to a fight between her and Blath. So let's try and sum it up. Atop Mynydd, there sat a castle, ruled by a queen. Her name was Toag, and she may have been referred to as the Queen of Light. The queen obtained a chalice, which was so precious to her that she reaches for it still, even in death. There was also a man named Blath, who may have bore the appearance of a white wolf and wielded a gleaming sword, giving him the moniker of Bright Paw. He may have been her brother, her lover, or possibly both. A dragon is also involved, though their role beyond possibly destroying the castle is unknown. What doesn't add up is the most obvious bit. Queen Toag and Blath Bright Paw fought to the death. Allow me to theory craft for a moment. In the Bright Paw, it says the dragon devoured the queen, and in the Dark Blath, it's even more vague. Not only does the queen become corrupted by some dark magic from the chalice, it says that Blath attempted to kill her before it took hold, but his efforts were in vain. Perhaps both are true. The queen was devoured, assimilated, corrupted, and transformed by the curse of the chalice. She not only gave birth to a dragon, she was becoming more draconic herself, and so Blath took it into his hands to end the reign of his former lover/sister, which apparently didn't go so well. Darkness dragon-cursed Queen Toag seems to pack a punch, and a lot of swords. Of course, none of that explains what the hell that chalice was or where it came from, nor does it really explain the dragon. Furthermore, the appearance of the statues at the foot of the mountain would imply that Queen Toag is the savior, and Blath the Dark One. I don't think anybody can fully explain what happened here, and that's kinda why I love this spot. Mynydd is environmental storytelling at its finest. The folktales are just the perfect addition to add more mystery to this area. If you've got any theories, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your takes. Also, yes, I know, elements of this area are a reference to Game of Thrones, namely the White Wolf, the Mother of Dragons, the throne with iron scattered about. Yeah, I've seen the show, but I haven't read the books. So if all of this happens to be one incredibly elaborate Song of Ice and Fire reference, then please just let me know that too. In the meantime, I'm gonna head back to Gwynedd and enjoy the view. I hope you enjoyed this little lore excursion. I know it's not the sequel to the Majorat video you've likely been waiting for, but that one's undergoing some changes. There's just so much to go over with the Majorat, and I wrote that script over a year ago. I might have to turn this into a 3-parter. I'm hoping to make more videos like this one right here though, which don't take as long, less researching, less cross-referencing. It really still depends on my health, I'll be honest. If you know any other areas I should explore, let me know in the comments. I really enjoyed making this video, and I've already got a few other ideas in the works. And again, if you have any theories about what happened on Mynydd, then let me know, because this place is a mystery and I fucking love it. Alright, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go buy new padlocks for every door in the house, so make sure to brush your teeth, wash your face, and say hello to your grandmother for me. Have a nice day.